Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
A reminder that Donnie and Dolly is brought to you by Able Auctions. December 16th, just ahead of Jeff Paterson here, Able Auctions will sell the contents of a closed pet supply company. Over $500,000 of pet products with everything from fish tanks to dog beds. December 17th, Rick sleeps in one of those. December 17th, Able Auctions will sell the contents of a closed nutrition school, including a test kitchen with high-end commercial appliances. And for some reason, there's a skeleton available. And his little brother. For information on these auctions, or is that sister? Other auctions, or get your business assets sold at auction, go to ableauctions.ca. That's ableauctions.ca. I'm in shock here because usually Ryan is good. He'll get my little jokes. You've never seen the movie Cocoon.
I've literally never heard of this movie until the first segment of the show today.
Really?
Involves a lot of old people.
Yeah.
Well, so what's it about?
Old people.
Doing what?
It's a Cocoon. It was a good movie.
That sums it up well.
No, it was. You have to. I don't remember.
I can't remember the premise.
I can't remember the premise. But somebody, Google it. Google it.
You go into a cocoon and some anti-aging process happens. Maybe Jeff Patterson can help us out.
Wasn't it about alien cocoon and the people in the old age home got re-energized going in?
Okay, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, anti-aging process.
I'm still very confused.
Well,
this sounds like the hyperbaric chamber and your experience with that.
I don't even want to bring that up. We'll dig into it later. Jeff, how are you?
I'm good. And I was just thinking to myself, like, we're probably overdue for a reboot. Like, that reboots are all the rage. Cocoon 2 coming soon.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there was a Cocoon 2. We'll look
Cocoon
it up.
3 coming soon.
Cocoon 3. Yeah.
Son of Cocoon at a theater near you. Streaming on HBO, whatever. Okay, Jeff, first time we've had you since Sunday. Your reaction to all the moves the Canucks have made.
Yeah, it had to happen. You hate to see good people lose jobs, but ultimately it's a bottom line business, and the bottom line is hurting on the ice, off the ice. The brand has taken a beating, and they had 8 wins in 25 games. This is professional sports, so something had to give. The Saturday night game against Pittsburgh did not go well, as you are all well aware. I don't know if the jersey on the ice was, in fact, the last straw, but you certainly saw the strong reaction to Stan Smyl, a career Vancouver Canuck. And, as emotional as he got there on Monday afternoon, addressing the media, and Francesco Aquilini as well, something had to give. Something was rotten with this organization, and that's not to point at any one person. Sometimes these things happen. The players are underperforming. The head coach wasn't able to get through to his best players. The head coach seemed unwilling to budge in terms of the usage of players in certain situations, the penalty kill being one of them. And obviously we know that 8 years of Jim Benning didn't amount to an awful lot. And so it had just come to that. You could feel the frustration in the market. It was palpable. The fans deserve better. They were promised better. And so you had to turn the page, and we'll see. The Bruce Boudreau era couldn't have got off to a better start than a 4-0 shutout win with the fans chanting his name. I don't think many people are buying tickets to actually go see the coach, but it does seem now in Vancouver, at the very least, we've got a soccer coach who, has injected some personality into his team. And I do think that that's something that Bruce Boudreau is going to be able to do for the Vancouver Canucks, is just kind of be a fresh breath of air and maybe just lighten the mood around this group. And certainly they played like they were all a little bit liberated in beating the Kings on Monday night.
I was just going to ask you a question with that focus, Jeff. But what do you think, other than the element of fun, what do you think Bruce Boudreau has added over the last couple of days?
Yeah, I just think it was lightening the load that, to hear Stan Smyl talk about the finger pointing has to end now. And yesterday, Quinn Hughes talking about how Elias Paterson getting a chance to penalty kill, a guy like that's going to go through the wall for the coach. It's not so much what they said, it's what they didn't say. And if Quinn Hughes is saying that Elias Paterson is going to go through the wall for this new coach, I think, and it looked like it out on the ice, that maybe he just wasn't willing to get there for the past coach, even though they had success earlier in the career. It just kind of felt like it had reached that disconnect point. So, JT Miller talked about dreading coming to the rink. Like, these are professionals. They're getting paid massive money. It's a game. It should be fun. And at the end, it wasn't, because they weren't winning very often. And let's be honest, the wins that they've got this year, guys, and I think you have to add the Los Angeles win. It gets a bit of an asterisk because it comes under a new head coach, but the Kings, the Flyers, the Kraken, the Blackhawks, the Habs, the Ottawa Senators, there's a common thread here. And that is, if you look at the standings, you have to look way down to find those teams. So, the Canucks have shown they're capable of beating the teams right around them, sort of in the same soup that they are. But in terms of celebrating a win over Los Angeles on Monday night and making it more than it is, I think we have to be careful here, because the Kings had played the night before. It was back-to-back for them. It was their backup goaltender. They have 2 wins in their last 10. So, again, good on the Canucks. They did a lot of good things, and you want to believe that they can pick up where they left off, but there are better teams out there. They're going to see a bunch of them here, the remainder of this homestand as well. So I think you have to be careful about reading into too much in one isolated victory over the Los Angeles Kings. But man, a win, and the atmosphere in that rink, it certainly beat what we had seen from the Vancouver Canucks in that Rogers Arena atmosphere in the previous games here under the old regime.
Do you think players like Jeff Paterson and Besser, obviously we're not having a good time under Travis, do you see them thinking, okay, we got a new coach, new vibes, the whole 9 yards? Can these two start playing like everyone expected them to play?
That's got to be the hope, Rick, and it couldn't be going a whole lot worse the way it was going there under Travis Green. And again, I think there's enough blame to go around, and the players have to own some of it. They're better players than they have shown, but to see Brock Besser go 13 without a goal, and beyond that, and I think we touched on it last week, it was shot volume. Like, this is a guy that needs to shoot the puck a bunch. Bruce Boudreau said as much in his introductory press conference, and then Besser goes out, aided by Drew Doughty kicking the puck a little bit, but hey, they all count. And, again, just to experience goal scoring, because that's what Brock Besser does. It's what he loves to do and what he's paid to do. And so you hope that maybe that can just let him step back, exhale, smell the roses a little bit, and remember what it felt like to score goals. And Paterson, I love the idea of charging him with a little bit of a penalty kill. I do worry of him putting himself in harm's way. But at the same time, I think, he's at a point in his career, like, he's not a rookie. He's not this is his 4th full year now. And last year he missed half the season, obviously. So really it's his 5th season, but didn't play much last year. I guess it's his 4th season. I got to get my math right. But whatever the case, it's time for him to take on an increased role. And I think something like penalty kill, it's a lot about, hard work and just getting a guy to dig in and invest. And maybe if he can, bring that part of his game and his performance up, maybe it translates over to 5-on-5 play and the power play as well. Get him into a game, get him, a little more fired up to be involved in these games. So whatever it takes, what was happening under Travis Green wasn't working for a guy like Elias Pettersson. And, I love the fact that he drew the penalty shot. Yeah, he didn't convert, but still, for me, it was more about what led to the penalty shot itself. He was out there killing penalties. He was up ice. They were aggressive on the penalty kill. Those were things that we weren't seeing under Travis Green and Nolan Baumgartner. And again, Bruce Boudreau said, hey, sitting back wasn't working on the penalty kill. And clearly that's the case, because their penalty kill has been historically bad. So I think any change is a change for the better right now. And they killed off both penalties the other night. And at big points in the game, it was 2-0. Like, if the Kings score a power play goal, you're telling me that all that excitement in the building doesn't turn to nervous energy, because people have seen this act way too many times before. So credit to the penalty killers. They stepped up. They haven't done enough of that this year, but maybe that is sort of that first building block in trying to, I don't think they're going to make themselves world beaters on the penalty kill, but can they get anywhere close to being average just with a change of tactic? I guess we'll find out here with a new head coach.
Stan Smyl, Lawrence Gilman, Jim Rutherford, Mark Bergevin, Mike Gillis, all these names are being thrown out there regarding a president and or GM position. Is there one that makes the most sense, Jeff?
I thought you were going to say that they've all been added to Ryan Johnson, Daniel Henrik Sedin, Chris Gear. It's going to be the biggest front office in the history of professional sport. I hope Lawrence Gilman gets an opportunity to be a general manager. I just have a ton of time and respect for the way he views the game. He's a modern, progressive thinker. I think he could handle a market like this one. He's worked in Vancouver. He's worked in Toronto. He's worked in Winnipeg before that. He understands Canadian markets, but he certainly gets Vancouver as well. So that one is intriguing to me. The combo of Mike Gillis as a president of hockey operations and Lawrence Gilman as the GM, like, it is hard to argue with the track record of 2009, 2010, 2011, even 2012. And that's when it started to, go into decline, I suppose. But I think there's a lot of fences that would need some repair there in relationships. So I don't know that the two of them come back. You don't see that very often in professional sports, but I do think Lawrence Gilman has earned an opportunity to be a general manager. And there are a lot of smart people in hockey. I hope that this organization does its due diligence, that takes its time. Like, I don't think it's a rush right now to find this super hockey boss. Like, in my mind, and I know nobody in the organization is going to say the season is flushed, but I think they've dug themselves just way too deep a hole to climb out of. And Bruce Boudreau can sell the win each week and pick up a point and all that kind of stuff. And he has to keep his players engaged. I get that. But I think big picture, if you're the organization, step back here, survey the situation. We're at a point in time in the world where you've got to get the right people. Forget about the right general manager. There are human beings involved here, and you've got to make sure that they've got a track record that's not going to come back to haunt you, and you have to go through this again in a year's time. So do it right. And that's something that the organization hasn't done. They've tried to cut way too many corners here in the last decade, really. So I just hope that they have learned from their mistakes. I thought Francesco Aquilini handled himself well on Monday. I know he doesn't like to do that, and he doesn't do it very often, but he was fine. And I think he seemed contrite. I think he recognized that his family and that organization that means so much to people in this province, they've let the fans down. They have. And so the fans deserve better. And I just hope that the organization takes its time, follows the proper channels, uses outside influence if they have to, bring in a third party. Like, there are people available to find the right candidate for the job. And I just hope that they do find the right man or woman or however many people it is. Just get it right to get this thing moving back in the proper direction.
Jeff, thanks for this. Canucks and Bruins tonight from Sekeres and Price. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
Jeff Paterson, Sekeres, and Price.